We asked our viewers to tell us which board games they've been playing, and then we picked out the ones that really stood out to share with you. There's some old favourites, a dash of the newest hotness, and several surprises in this month's People's Choice selection. Hello, I'm Matthew, and joining me is Paula.
Hello, I'm Paula, and today I've chosen to present myself as a 12-year-old boy from 1993. I have a cat, but he'll be mad if I pick him up.
But do you have a cosmic frog?
I have a regular frog.
Off camera, useful.
I'll get it.
Paula, you might ask yourself, what made this People's Choice pick jump out at you? And I would answer, interterrestrial toads. And we'd both be satisfied in knowing that we'd said a sentence that had never been said before. And also, yes, YouTube, I'm aware that all toads are frogs, but not all frogs are toads.
I was not aware of that.
Yeah, it's a fact. Cosmic Frog is a game of collection, combat, and theft on a planetary scale. Each player controls a 2-mile-tall, immortal, invulnerable frog-like creature.
I like frogs.
What about frogs?
I like frogs.
That exists solely to gather terrain from the shards of Aeth. It's spelled A-E-T-H. That's my best guess. The fragments of a long ago shattered world.
The frog is 2 miles tall?
Yeah, it's a cosmic frog.
That's huge.
Very large.
That's horrifying.
It's not horrifying. I think it's adorable.
Anything that is suddenly 2 miles tall becomes a monster.
Honestly, the blurb for this game is wild. For instance, once on the shard, you harvest land and store it in your massive gullet. When your gullet is sufficiently full, you leap into the ether and disgorge your gullet contents into your interdimensional vault for permanent storage, then return the shards to collect more land.
I think I understood why this one stood out from what our viewers have been playing.
The front cover is amazing, and honestly, I just really want to play this game.
I'm kind of scared of it now based on that description.
Well, then I'll have to play it with viewer Timothy W, who leaps in to say, frogs in space, which was a quick quote, which is why I picked it.
Yeah, I have to look this game up. This sounds bizarre.
And before the next people's pick, first here is my own personal pick for publishers who in part made this episode possible.
In other words, our sponsor.
And now, a few words from one of our sponsors, The Op. And those words are, What the Cup? What the Cup is a game of dice, luck, and lies where you alone, must do whatever it takes to end up with the highest or lowest value die. Which is why you must sabotage your opponents by changing the winning target or play cards to spy, swap, reroll, or reveal dice. What the Cup? To play the game, roll your 12-sided die and then hide it under your opaque protective cup. Then, players take turns, drawing cards from the central pile and either using those cards to deviously disorganize the dodecadon distribution, or change the very goal of the game between needing to have the highest numbered die on the table to the lowest and back again. It's a fast-paced frenzy for points and pips that will have you asking something. Follow the link below to the op.games for more information and to collect your copy of the game when it releases on June 21st. What the cup?
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 What? The cup?
Next up is Wizards of Grimoire, which stood out from the people's picks because, Paula, we would like this game.
I already like the name of it.
Years of tutelage, which doesn't look like a real word when you read it out loud, tutelage. Anyway, years of farting around under the late Archmage Andor have accumulated in this moment. His two proteges must now become rivals and battle to determine who will become the next keeper of the Grimoire. And now, you're gonna fight.
How are you fighting? We're slinging spells at each other?
Big time. This translates into a dueling strategy card game where you have to, and this is really cool bit, you have to defeat your opponent by drafting new spells from the magical grimoire, which is a bunch of spells in front of you, casting them, managing your cooldowns, and dealing massive damage. So it seems as though it would feel like playing a two-player dueling game, but has the added deck building feeling built right into the game, as well as, of course, all the cards of different spells and unused mana turned into attack value. I really would like to try this game a lot.
It sounds so cool. Thank you, viewers, for playing this game, because now I know about it. And I'm excited. What's the third game, Matthew? What have our viewers been playing?
Witch's Brew is the next people's pick. And this one stood out to me because it's the precursor to Broom Service.
Oh!
That's what Witch's Brew is based on. And I was just surprised to see the original version getting love.
Someone's playing the original version of Broom Service. I've not played either of these. You've played Broom Service.
More on that in just a moment. But in this one, players will have constantly changing roles from the Druid Drax to the Assistant Gemalha, where players who come after you in turn will always have the better cards. It's a simultaneous selection card game where you select 5 out of your 12 role cards to play. And viewer Gabriel L. cackles, probably from their home, "I love saying I am the..." as they announce their roles. I feel like they get into it in the same way that we would get into it, Paula.
I am the mayor. Ho ho ho. I give you a citation for a minor local law infraction.
How magical. And for that reason, the push your luck aspect of Broom Service, this is one I've played, not Witch's Brew, but I got decimated at it because I always risk it and then I lose.
You truly live by go big or go home.
I do, and I'm always going home. Look, Chaz helped me with this part of the script because he wrote a joke that honestly I thought, I'm actually going to keep that one in. Rebuilding Seattle is next, though once that's destroyed, you'll have to move on to D-Atoll. Get it?
Oh no, that's the joke you chose to keep in?
Because Seattle has been destroyed, so we're on to D-Atoll. I liked it. I'll first describe this in the way that viewer Chris T did, because they're jazzed about this one, and they say, it may look dry, but it's anything but. It's a medium weight game that I enjoy. It's well paced and quick to teach, plus I like to pretend I'm Fraser Crane when I play it. Where are my tossed salad and scrambled eggs?
This sounds dry. It's totally not. Now I'm going to describe it in the most dry way possible. It's medium weight. Makes me think of Fraser Crane.
Look, Frasier was my favourite show as a kid, which is why it jumped out at me, and that's why it's on the list. The Great Fire of 1889 has burned down most of downtown Seattle. That dry? I suppose that would be dry, actually.
It is dry, because if it wasn't dry, it probably wouldn't have burned down that way.
And you are the city planner tasked with rebuilding it. Your population grows each round, and you can either build a new building, expand into a new suburb, activate an event, or build a landmark before earning profit based on your neighbourhood's commerce, earning points for building types, upgrades, landmarks, events, and remaining cash. Also, it has a solo player deck, which means I might actually get it played.
Ooh, get it played.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea for a YouTube channel. Get it played. You can watch it played anywhere, right? But getting it played? People should subscribe.
Yeah, Matthew and I have a new channel we'd like to announce to you. Get it played. You may watch us getting it played. We haven't stolen this idea from anyone.
Finally, we're getting it played. The next game is Havana, which is one of those games I've always meant to get played at some point.
Come check out our new channel, Getting It Played, where our first video is all about how we're playing Havana.
In Havana, you acquire victory points by constructing buildings available as tiles displayed on the table. To take a building, you must pay its requirements, some combination of money, workers, and building materials, where more difficult combinations yield more victory points, but not all of the available buildings on the table are ripe for the taking.
Oh.
We actually get Gabriel L to help teach us the game because they enjoy Havana because it's a short resources management game and a clever roles selection. It also looks great with Cuba and Santiago de Cuba, which are 2 other games.
So we have multiple role selection games on the list this month.
Yeah, and we're taking on the role as heads of a new YouTube channel. And don't tell Rodney. Charcuterie the board game, which I found funny because as opposed to what, like charcuterie the food, is the next people's pick, which stood out because it's called Charcuterie the board game.
I feel like you've put this game, you've picked this one out, you've plucked it from the list of what our viewers have been playing, specifically for me.
No.
I love a good charcuterie board.
None of it's food.
Tell me about charcuterie, the board game.
In Charcuterie the board game, players take turns drafting delectable food tiles and arranging them on your board. I guess that's a charcuterie board. But carefully consider your placements as you will be judged on your final presentation, which makes sense, but it's all an I cut, you choose.
Because there's also like cheese and meats and things that you're cutting.
Yeah. This game left viewer TGL excited as they say this game not only looks delicious but really evokes the Betty Crocker cookbook illustrations from my childhood memories.
Aw, yeah. Also, add this to the list of games that there's no way you could possibly play while not actively snacking. Like, you can't play Sushi Go. You can't play Truffle Shuffle. You can't play Macaron. You can't play
Tigris and Euphrates.
charcuterie. Or maybe that's a me problem.
Honestly, I think it is a you. I'm fine with just a cup of tea. And now I'm going to cut this episode up and choose to add in the next sponsor who, in part, helped make this episode a reality.
And now it is time for another word from a sponsor, the sponsor being the op. Put your arms down, please. Let's talk about The Perfect Wave. Catch The Perfect Wave in this light strategy game called The Perfect Wave, where you paddle out, plan the best combo of moves, and then create the ultimate surfing memory. Because The Perfect Wave is all about surfing. And I'm not talking about being an agricultural laborer bound under the feudal system to work on their lord's estate. I mean the other kind of surf. The surfing surf where you do in the ocean with a fancy plank of wood. The Perfect Wave. Collect wave cards to construct a sequence, earn points for runs and sets of numbers, play trick cards to show off and score bonuses, and then elevate the 17th century's indentured labor market because surf's up. So follow the link below to the op.games for more information once it becomes available.
Our viewers are still playing and enjoying the exit games when they come out, voting for Exit the Game, The Catacombs of Horror, which is full of gloomy vaults that lie under Paris, that swallow the light, secret, and apparently, people.
This sounds like a cool theme.
But this one's cool because it's an exit game, but it consists of 2 parts, with each being its own challenge.
Oh, cool.
Viewer Stephen E enters the chat. We're on Twitch sometimes, everyone, saying the puzzles in this one were extra puzzling. Some of the exit games have been a breeze and others have taken me a while to solve. This one was on the more challenging side.
I like the theme of this one. It sounds creepy. And I'd rather play a game about maybe being stuck in a catacomb and having to get my way out than experiencing it in real life. Stuck in a catacomb, solving a puzzle, can't figure out how to open the door, the walls are closing in on you.
I'm gonna die here like that pile of bones.
I don't care that there's a hint underneath the skull, okay? I just want out.
I'm too dehydrated to decipher the glyphs.
So that's why games are great. You heard it here first on Getting It Played.
Applejack caught my eye from the viewers' picks because it's on Board Game Arena right now and I really want to play it.
So this is a nice coincidence that our viewers have been playing it because you want to get it played. No reference to anything in particular when I say that.
I really want to play this one on Board Game Arena because you don't have to count your own score. It just does it for you.
That is nice.
It's the height of human civilization to date.
I don't know how to score my own scores in a bunch of games now because I've just gotten used to Board Game Arena tracking it for me.
Yeah. It's like that feeling when you read a rule book and then you sit down to play the game and you go, man, I tell you, I read this rule book, but I don't remember what to do. Look, this one's by Uwe Rosenberg, which is always something I like. Plant apple trees and harvest the juiciest apples without forgetting to set up beehives between the trees. At the end of the game, it's whoever has the most honey who wins.
It's a really good one. I love puzzly tile placement if your game, and that's very Uwe Rosenberg as well, right? Also, why is it called Applejack, about an apple orchard, but you win by having the most honey?
Don't start this here. Viewer Crystal Z says, look, simple and peaceful, but it does hurt my brain. It's great on Board Game Arena. Oh, there we go. But physical copies are not easy to find in the US. Hopefully, if you folks talk about it on your channel, it will get enough interest to bring it to the mass printing here. Then I wouldn't have to order mine from an online retailer in the Netherlands. Okay, too late. I just ordered one from an online retailer in the Netherlands.
Well, you've definitely motivated me, Crystal, because this is one, like I said, that Matthew and I have been talking about wanting to try, and I think Let's play this when we're done filming, actually.
Let's set a game up and do it.
Let's do it. Cool.
Then we'll be getting it played.
I'm doing a lot of thumbs up today.
This month's most mentioned expansion was Grand Austria Hotel Let's Waltz. I know people who love the base game so much, which also is something that makes this stick out to me. And I personally love modular expansions.
You can like swap in and out.
Taverns of Tiefenthal, anyone? Big time.
I'm excited to like discover the mystery of what these modules are. I'm guessing they're dancing related.
Surely one of them has to be, right?
Right? Dance related, music related. Maybe one has to do with filling in like the steps on those old like dance pattern shoe print things, right?
Surely. Crystal Z also says about this one that there's nothing that I want to do more after eating a ton of strudel and cake than to dance. These designers get me.
I could have danced all night.
I have a hot take about strudel if you want to hear it, and that's that it's only good as a facilitator for eating ice cream.
You don't like strudel?
It's fine.
Why are we talking about so much food in this episode? I'm hungry. Eating charcuterie, eating strudel, eating frogs. Come on.
The oldest game on this month's list is also the last game we're talking about, and the only one I've actually played.
Ooh.
Which is not something that normally happens. Normally I've played more of these. And this is one I always evangelize because it's great, and that's David and Goliath.
Oh.
So it's a trick-taking card game where you have to follow suit, and at the end of a trick, it's the highest card overall that wins. But the lowest card wins the card that won the trick, if that makes sense.
Oh, interesting.
And then the scoring is that you're collecting sets, and if you have 1, 2, or 3 cards in a certain colour, that's great because you have the face value of the cards. But the second you take a 4th card in that set, all the cards become worth 1. So at the start, you try not to win things, and then once you've won too many, you want to shoot the moon.
I love trick-taking games that make you like think about what you're doing in a different way.
It's so good. And TGL says this game is such a treat to play. I was finally able to find the mouse version after months of searching and gave it to myself for Christmas. The card art is so clever. As the numbers ascend, the mouse grows from David to Goliath.
Oh, and also let that be a lesson to everyone. You don't have to wait on anyone to get you what you want. If you want it, get it for yourself for Christmas.
And what I want is to get it played. That's a sampling of what our viewers have been playing this month. To join the discussion for next episode, follow the link in this video's description to our Patreon to find out how to pick the games featured in the People's Choice. The people, that's you.
Pretty sure you're a people.
And to see the games on our own personal radars, continue on to this month's On the Radar episode. Thanks, Paula, for being here.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye. Take care, squeaks.